And I tour, and then I come home, and my wife has a job that's really requires a lot of hours, so she puts in a lot of hours while I'm gone, and then she slacks back a little bit when I'm at home. That's worked out well for us over the years. And this next song I wrote, I had come home off the road and had a few days, and my wife actually had to be gone, which was not the norm. And in fact, the first time that I had ever, at least in the house, the new house that we had at the time, first time I'd ever stayed in it by myself. And I just didn't know what to do with myself. I mean, I drank beer. I could figure that much out. I vacuumed the carpets at 4 in the morning. And I wrote songs, and this next song is one of the ones that I wrote. A song called Insomniac Blues. Goes like this. I can't sleep without you, baby. Lord knows I ain't gonna bed with no one else. I said I can't sleep without you, babe. Lord knows I ain't gonna bed with no one else. Come back to me, baby. I'll be wide awake and by myself. You know I cry every night, but I'm tossing and turning in my sheets. Can you hear me? I said I cry every night, but I'm tossing and turning in my sheets. Won't you come back to me, baby? Come back to me, so I can get some sleep. I ain't had a way. Can't even think. You're making me wanna commit a crime. I don't know what to do, 'cause I'm so in love with you. But insomnia got me out of my mind, and I can't sleep without you, baby. Lord knows I ain't going to bed with no one else. I said I can't sleep without you, babe. Lord knows I ain't going to bed, no. Till you come back to me, baby, I'll be wide awake and by myself. Yeah! the keyboards, everybody. Without you, babe. baby.
Lord knows I ain't going to bed with no one else. I said I can't sleep without you, babe. Lord knows I ain't going to bed, no. Come back to me, baby. I'll be wide awake and by myself. Whoa! Hey! Whoa!
Hadden Sayers and the Hadden Sayers Blues Band. Can we get one more, please? Please, would you like to? We would love that.
Por supuesto.
Por supuesto, gracias.
Well, thank you so very much, everybody. We are the Hadden Sayers Band, Houston, Texas, via Columbus, Ohio. One more time on the keyboards. How about it for Mr. Chris Spees?
So we're here on the 31st annual Legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise, where we have a lot of fun, see a lot of bands, I see a lot of old friends, and one of my oldest friends here is Steve Daniels. Steve, how many trips have you been on?
This is my 20th.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. I got booked after the first one.
What year was that?
2004.
When we were on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of great acts. It was an experience, wasn't it?
It was an experience. You know, their advertising says this is a life-changing experience, and it is.
And we see a lot of people here that have seen it in the past.
That's right. People keep coming back. They love it.
We're pretty lucky. How'd you get started in the blues? What was your first blues event?
Oh, my first event? Oh, no way I could remember that. It must have been some folk blues singer back in the 60s, because I was into rock and roll and Elvis Presley back in the 50s and 60s, and into folk singers, and that led me back to blues.
And the blues came back to us from the British blues, right?
That's right, yeah.
Now, you went to the Ann Arbor, Michigan festival. I heard that's the first one, right? The first big blues festival.
Yeah, to my understanding, it was the first big blues festival anywhere. It was 1969.
Who'd you see?
Well, it's a long time ago. My memory isn't that great. I remember seeing Lightning Hopkins, and boy, that was just incredible. And Luther Allison, who was not a big name at the time, hardly anybody knew him, and he just put on a killer show, got a standing ovation. It was great.
Well, Luther Allison was signed by Motown Records at one time.
Yeah, that's right. And he lived in Chicago, but he came to Ann Arbor and played the night before the festival started. Nobody ever heard of him, and he just brought the house down.
We're talking to Steve Daniels from Santa Barbara, California, the president of the Santa Barbara Blues Society, a fellow board member. I've been on the board with Steve for a long time. Now, you were actually there when the Santa Barbara Blues Society started, which is the oldest blues society in the world, right?
Nope, in the United States.
Yeah, I knew that.
You didn't know that. It's a trivia question.
So the first show was where?
I have no idea where the first show was. I was involved as a spectator from the onset in March 1977, because I moved to Santa Barbara in 1976. I was already a blues lover, and I was delighted to see that there were regular blues shows. So I started going to them, and then within a couple of years I became a board member. But I'm not sure where the first show was. Actually, there was a blues society in Santa Barbara in the early 70s, 72 or 3, that didn't last, and then it was reconstituted in March 77.
Well, one of the first shows I saw was Blue Monday at the Bluebird. And I think I saw Sonny Rhodes there, Tom Ball, Kenny Sultan. Who else did I see? A lot of people. And I remember the first time I saw Rod Stewart was a Blues Society show at the Sandtrap.
Rod Stewart or Rod Piazza?
Rod Piazza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I remember seeing Fenton Robinson at the Bluebird. He put on a great show. And you mentioned Blue Mondays. The shows were, for years, put on Monday nights. And frequently there were 3 or 4 shows a month back at that time.
And
A lot of great blues.
well, I was working nights, so I had Monday night off. For me, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And you always had a good crowd.
Yeah, it's surprising for a town the size of Santa Barbara. It's always supported blues.
If you want more information about the Santa Barbara Blues Society, go to seblues.org. They're still doing shows now. Steve has done a great job keeping the blues alive. Now, how did you get started in radio?
Well, it was due to you, Leo. Leo Schumaker is known in Santa Barbara as the professor of the blues. And you had a show on KCSB FM for about 20 years, right?
Yes.
Before that, there was a man named Greg Drust, D-R-U-S-T, who had a blues show. There were several on that station, but he had one for many years called Back at the Chicken Shack.
And Showers of Rain.
And Showers of Rain.
Yeah.
And he was a blues historian as well as polka. Polka is his first love. He now lives in the Midwest, and he's the polka radio king of the Midwest.
It's amazing. He's our muse, both of us.
Yeah, but I used to listen to his blues show all the time, and then I started listening to Leo's all the time. And when I retired from my occupation, I finally had time to have my own radio show, and Leo was kind enough to be my mentor.
What's the name of your show?
It's Views of the Blues on Monday afternoons, 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific time.
And you can hear the web stream at kcsb.org. There is so much blues here on board.
Oh my God.
How many bands are here?
About 20 every cruise.
And the legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise is one of our favorites. I missed it for many years, several years, 8 years or so, and I'm so glad to be back. So glad to hear all the great music, talk to everybody. And we're eating dinner. Here's Rod Piazza. Here is Roy Gaines. Here is other people. We're all sitting together.
Yeah, it's very informal. That's really something that most of the musicians love. They also love being able to jam with each other because often they're on tours and they never see each other or get to play with each other. And the jam sessions are some of the best parts. I remember one of my first cruises, the first or second one, I was heading to the pool deck late at night for one of the jam sessions with Taj Mahal and his band. I walked past one of the piano bars, and there was a piano player and a bass player, and maybe 3 or 4 people. But they sounded good, and a guitarist came by, and a harmonica player came by, and within 10 minutes the place was packed. The music was fantastic, and I never got to see Taj, and I had no regrets. It was just wonderful.
And the piano bar is usually put on by Mitch Woods now. And he has a great album called Live at the Piano 88.
I don't remember the title, but it's live performances from the cruise.
And there's also other CDs. You can find them online. Legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise. You can go to bluescruise.com for more information. It's sold out for February already, right?
It's sold out for this February 2019, and tickets are going fast for October 2019. They often sell out at least a year ahead of time.
And we see people here that are done raising their kids, done working, time to enjoy life, correct?
That's right.
Well, we're pretty lucky to be here on the Legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise number 31. Steve Daniels has been my guest, one of my best friends in the blues and anywhere. Thank you, Steve, so much.
Thank you, Leo.
This is a song that we arranged as a tribute to a friend of ours who passed on, a fellow by the name of L.C. Ulmer. Know any L.C. Ulmer fans in here? Woo! Blues band that also did gigs.
We should
This
be.
is for L.C. Ulmer. This song's called I've Been Rounding Up Girls All Day.